the movement is moving along, and we could get some wins, but we don't want to go out and brunch. So before you brunch, progressive groups are winning for Biden in Michigan. Biden has no ground game in Michigan, sources have reported. From appearances by Rashida Tlaib to canvassing and phone banking efforts from leftist groups like Detroit Action, Michigan Liberation, and Mothering Justice, this is your reminder that liberals don't want to do the work to turn out the vote. But progressives are the ones who best understand Trump's threat and are, used to organizing and want to rally their communities against them. So before you brunch, liberals, make sure to hit the ground. On Wednesday, President Trump reiterated the hope that the election will be called and votes will no longer be counted after November 3rd. In other words, late ballots coming from the key battleground state of Pennsylvania will have no effect on the outcome. Trump is urging the courts to prevent vote counting after next Tuesday, in a move that Brian Klaas of Washington Post called a, quote, dangerously authoritarianism tactic. Those who have not yet been mailed their ballots should drop them off or vote in person where it is safe to do so. Let's make that very clear. You have a ballot, don't mail it in now. You got to go drop it off at the mail-in ballot location or the Board of Election, depending on your state. So go check that out. Former leader of the Labor Party and Democratic Socialist, Jeremy Corbyn, has been suspended from Labor. This comes after Corbyn's response to a watchdog report claiming consistent failure by Corbyn's Labor Party to discuss and address accusations of anti-Semitism. Corbyn has emphasized that while he and his party have always stood against anti-Semitism and all forms of racism, quote, the scale of the problem was dramatically overstated for political reasons. Earlier this year, we learned that Parliamentary Labor Party is essentially sabotaged Corbyn's campaign for prime minister. This is more of the same from the anti-socialist element of labor. I'm going to go over his statement real quick. I think this is really important, and it's not being discussed enough. He said, quote, anti-Semitism is absolutely abhorrent, wrong, and responsible for some of humanity's greatest crimes. As leader of the Labor Party, I was always determined to eliminate all forms of racism and root out the cancer of anti-Semitism. I have campaigned in support of Jewish peoples and communities my entire life, and I will continue to do so. The EHRC's report shows that when I became labor leader in 2015, the party's process for handling complaints were not fit for purpose. Reform was installed by an obstructive party bureaucracy. But from 2018, Jenny Formby and the new NEC that supported my leadership made substantial improvements, making it much easier and swifter to remove anti-Semites. My team acted to speed up, not hinder the process. Anyone claiming there is no anti-Semitism in the Labor Party is wrong. Of course there is, as there is throughout society. And sometimes it is voiced by people who think of themselves as on the left. Now, this is really important because, I went and interviewed, I covered the labor conference in 2017, and I actually interviewed Jeremy Corbyn, who had just lost the nomination for prime minister, or he was going into eventually running again, and of course he lost against Boris Johnson. But I talked to him about reform in the Labor Party because I had just been going through the process of the reform committee at the DNC, and I knew that they had a similar a commission established to reform the Labor Party to address these issues. And it's very interesting to see the similarities between the neoliberal elements, the Clintonian part of the party in the DNC, and of course the Tony Blairites in the Labor Party, who really stalled out any reforms, delayed processes, put their thumb on the scale wherever they could if they were controlling committees. I think this is a really important conversation to have in the movement and reforming parties, because of course the parties do decide who becomes a nominee and what the process is, and we have to be a little bit more alert on what their tactics are. So I'm really happy he's bringing that up. Thanks for watching and listening to The Nomiki Show. But remember to click like and subscribe on YouTube, and please share on social media. If you're not already a patron, please join us for as low as $5 a month on patreon.com/The Nomiki Show for early and special content. That investment makes a huge difference. We are not corporate media raking in the dough. It's really you guys that are keeping us going. So please consider being a patron. And to our current patrons, thank you so much. We are incredibly grateful to you. We also now have swag. So check us out on the nomikishow.com to get your mugs, your totes, and your stickers.